Good morning, everyone. I want to call this meeting of Fiscal Court to order. Certainly glad to see everyone here. I want to do a moment of silence. Mr. Jimmy Wheeldon's not with us today. He's back at Vanderbilt Hospital doing some tests. We don't think anything's wrong, but he had to go in for some more tests today. Went down last night. He told me he wouldn't be here today, but just remember him in your prayers. We're going to do a moment of silence for him and any others that you have in the community to think about. And then I want to ask our Sheriff, Bobby Jones, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Just for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Everyone, please stand. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good. First item of business this morning would be to approve the minutes from the March 14th meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look over those? Do we see any discussion, any revisions from them to take place?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Renshaw makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
At this time, I want to recognize a special person in the room today. She's done quite a feat here a couple of weeks ago, within the last couple of weeks. Miss Natalie Cummins, I would like for you to come up to be recognized. This girl won the state archery and with almost a perfect score. And then she got out and had an accident a couple of days ago.
Everybody else sort of get it maybe back that time.
I'm going to go over here.
Marshall can't be still.
This is a Natalie Cummins Day proclamation. Pulaski County Fiscal Court has designated Tuesday, March 28th, 2023 as Natalie Cummins Day, and whereas Natalie Cummins has placed #1 in the Kentucky NASP competition, and whereas Natalie Cummins will be representing Kentucky in June for the National NASP competition in Myrtle Beach, and whereas archery has enabled and empowered Natalie Cummins to seek a degree in criminal justice and become a fish and wildlife officer through a full scholarship with the University of Cumberland. Now therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in me, I, Marshall Todd, County Judge Executive of Pulaski County, on behalf of Pulaski Fiscal Court and all citizens thereof, I do hereby proclaim this day to be Natalie Cummins Day in Pulaski County, 28th day of March, 2023. Congratulations.
Turn the proclamation around. There you go.
Some of the families would like to come up.
Get back in there, Marshall. Okay, hold just a minute. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We'll get the picture. Get a picture of Mom there. Oh, yeah, that's good.
Thank you. We'll move on to old business now. Stacy, I want you to report on the bids from the last meeting on the Haynes Knob and White Lily.
Yeah, the fire commission, we had a meeting and the building construction committee met, and they voted to go with the Melson roofing bid. That was $49,350. They offered a better warranty on the roofing.
We have a motion to accept that.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Renshaw makes the motion to approve this bid. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Turpin seconds. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
No.
Motion passes.
And then on the White Lily bids, the construction committee voted to reject the bids, the two bids we had on it, due to the cost. They're going to try going a different route and then come back, see if we can get that done a little cheaper. So I'd ask the court to allow us to advertise for bids whenever they do something different and get a different game plan together on that.
Motion to advertise.
Mr. Renshaw makes a motion to re-advertise the bids on White Lily. Do I have a second?
Second.
Drunk seconds. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
No.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stacy. Our next item is to remove a road from the county maintenance, is Big Rock Court. We have had a hearing on that. Didn't have anybody in opposition to show up for that meeting. Do I have a motion to remove Big Rock Court from the county road system?
Motion to remove.
Mr. Renshaw makes the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Turpin seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. I would ask someone, Pulaski County Conservation District, to present their plan of work and the budget.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
John Burnett with the Pulaski County Conservation District. I've passed around the annual plan of work and our budget. As you flip through the plan of work, page 2 there is the Board of Supervisors. We have one new supervisor that just started in January. He is with us this morning, Mr. Marty Wilson. And our staff is updated also. We had one to retire and one to move on to other work. So we went from a staff of 3 to a staff of 2. Our primary conservation concerns, stay similar year to year, but our mission is to promote the wide use of our natural resources through conservation measures that we implement across the county. Landowner assistance programs, we work a lot with partners with a staff of 2, but we could not do what we do without good partnerships. So we are located in the Natural Resources Conservation Service Office. We partner with them on federal programs. And with the Inflation Reduction Act, there's a lot of federal dollars that are planned to be, put out there for conservation, climate smart practices, and so on. So when you're looking at our budget, we would like for you to consider, approval as submitted, so we can potentially get back up to a staff of 3 to help, get Pulaski County's fair share of those federal dollars that are potentially coming for those climate smart practices. Also on the 319 Buck Creek project, we are currently asking for additional grant money We're looking at that upper buck portion from basically Highway 461 all the way up to the top of Halls Gap Hill. We're requesting funding for monitoring as well as watershed-based plan development. So if approved, then that plan would guide future work in that area and hopefully bring more conservation dollars into the county. And of course, the rental equipment is still available. 15 pieces of rental equipment there that we are proud to make available as a service to landowners here in the county. And with that, I'll let Rodney say a few words and we'll take questions.
It's always good to get to come to fiscal court and see all these smiling faces. You know, I tell people all the time that now and I'm at a point in my life where that I'm humbled by two things. Jailer, you know, I've been called a lot of things over the years over there at your place, but you know, the two things now that humbles me the most is to be able to be called a farmer and Papa Rod. And Jason, those trips to the barbershop for the $10 haircuts usually cost me about 40 before we get back home. But as John was saying, we try to be a bridge between the farmers in this county in some things that maybe they need, but they necessarily can't afford to own with our rental equipment program. And I'm proud to say that we were recognized back in November. We have more pieces of rental equipment than any other district in the state of Kentucky, Chris. We were recognized by the Kentucky Ag Development Board and the Kentucky Ag Finance Board. They came here and had a meeting, and they were impressed by some of the things. And we get calls a lot of the times, and how did you all do this? How did you leverage those dollars with these others? And you know, we've tried to be a good neighbor with some of our rental equipment. Some of the things we've done over in eastern Kentucky with some of the flooding that they had, Marshall. We offered some of our equipment for them to get the fences put back up and things of this nature over in Taylor County, Mike, when they had those tornadoes. And, you know, that's the things we do. I think that you will see that as far as agriculture in the state, or in Pulaski County, it is probably in the top 5 as far as an industry. And that's what we like to see it treated as an industry, Chris. And, you know, those dollars, they say that ag dollars in a community roll over 3 different times. And, you know, we do the CAPE program that we just started. We had 234 people put in an application for that, Chastity. And we approved 215 of those. And that's going to be in excess of $200,000. It's going to go into the ag community just in, you know, direct monies. With the state cost share program, we had 14 applicants. 2 were approved for an excess of $20,000. We have the EQIP program. There's 50 people that's applied for that, and that's for pasture and forestry. And 21 of those applications have been approved for in excess of $200,000. I'll say this, you know, it's easy to be chairman when you've got a good board like Marty and the other folks that sit on that. You know, they make things easy. And we're not over there sitting, we want to try to provide a service for that. And as John mentioned, you know, it takes money to do that with. And we want to thank Fiscal Court for they've always been good, a partner for us. We want to continue that, but we come here today with hat in hand because we would like to see our budget, like I'm sure a lot of other people, increased as much as we can get it. With that, if there's any comment or question, we'll try to take them. For too hard, I'll let John answer.
Just want to say thank you for what you guys do for these farmers and the community at whole. Now, is your equipment, like your trailer, available for rent for any landowner in the county or just for ag?
Any piece of equipment we have over there is available for anybody in the county.
Anybody in the county, so. Because I know you guys got at least one dump trailer over there, right?
We do have, yes, sir. And we got that with an environmental grant with Danny over here to get rid of, I'm sure you saw these rolls of hay that's wrapped up in plastic. It's a major undertaking to get rid of that plastic. And we got an environmental grant with that, and that's how we got that trailer and worked at a little discounted rate with the landfill down here where that somebody takes that down there that they can get a rebate back off that.
That's great.
Deal.
So appreciate what you guys are doing to help out the ag community and is there any other resources? What do you guys need help with to help raise money besides us contributing from the budget?
Well, in some counties, Mark, they're on a millage tax. Pulaski County's never been. I mean, Fiscal Court's always supported us. And I know that a few years ago, there was some lean years and you had to scale back. And, last couple of years, it kind of went back up. We would like to have that, if you look at the rate of inflation, we've got nothing extra for the last several years. And, with the rate of inflation, as much as everything else goes up, the cost of retirements and this, that, and the other, I mean, we just need a little bit more there for a cushion, I guess you could say, to help us, get over the hump.
So, but we'll be looking at that. Is there anything else besides injecting more money that we can help you with?
Well, nothing that I can think of, but we'll certainly keep that as an option. And, we've tried, we want to be the same way. If there's something that we can do, if you all have a project or something going on with any of our equipment, we've always offered that up to the county for no charge. And we, like I say, we want to be a good neighbor and a good partner with you all.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rod.
Thanks, Rod.
Thank you, John.
I make a motion that we accept their budget for review.
All right. I have a motion from Mr. Renshaw to accept their budget proposal for review. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Turpin seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to new business. Cumberland's Workforce Interlocal Agreement. It's an agreement that was presented to me from Lake Cumberland Ad District. It encompasses 13 counties. Martin, our county attorney, has overlooked that. He's looked at it and signed it this week.
You say so.
Okay. She's filling in for Martin today. But he looked at it over the weekend and got it to my desk yesterday. It's just an agreement between 13 counties that will continue to work together to develop workforce. So I would like to have a motion to accept that interlocal agreement.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Strunk, Mr. Wilson seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Fuel Center Monitoring Compliance Contract. Cloyd, have you got something to say on that?
Yes, if you don't care, if you would pull out that document, the email, we are required by law to have monitoring done on our fuel tanks. And there's part of that gets done monthly, there's part of it gets done annually, testing. The service was previously provided by our supplier, Jonathan Arnett's organization, and they no longer have the contract, and Jonathan has sold that company. Excuse me. And anyway, we have to have somebody to do it. Now, what you have is Petro Tower, and they have an office here in Somerset. They were recommended by the person who was doing the monitoring previously. And as far as knowing any place else to go on this, I really don't. What I've been told is that they are the only people around who will do the monitoring, and if something goes wrong, like you have a stuck valve or if you have something that needs fixed, that's not a real major occurrence, they're the only group that will do this. So that presenting you with that email so you can see what their cost is. The only way I know of having that I know if this is a good price or not is based upon the recommendation of the people who did it previously, and they said it's a very, very good price, and that's what I know. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have them, if I can't answer.
The PetroServe, they're a bunch of good guys, and I'll make a motion, we accept them.
Mr. Strunk makes a motion to accept.
I'll second, but I got a question.
Mr. Renshaw seconds.
Has Martin looked over the service contract for this
No.
yet?
No.
So, I would say we need to table this for Martin to take a look at the service contract We got
We could
time?
approve it with Martin's.
With Martin's blessings, yeah.
Okay. So, so
You wanna
we're
change
changing
your-
the motion,
To approve it with Martin's blessings.
I have a motion and a second on the floor to approve with Martin's blessing. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you all.
Moving to our next item is the occupational tax administrator. The occupational tax is a huge part of our funding source. You know, it's about 30% of our funding, maybe a bit more. They take in $12 to $13 million in our budget. And I want to promote Cindy Sellers to our interim tax administrator for the county, and I would like to make that in a motion, in the form of a motion. Could I have a second on that?
Second.
Mr. Trunk seconds. Any discussion?
Did you say this was an interim?
Interim, yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Our next item is a wildfire mitigation grant. Mark, you want to lead on that?
Yeah,
You're up on that a little bit more than anybody else.
Last year, this court gave us permission for myself and Rick Haynes to apply for wildfire mitigation grant, which is a plan to educate and get equipment to help mitigate a wildfire before the fire actually starts, which would save, as you know, the volunteers, the less fires we have to go on, the safer every firefighter that's out there trying to protect this county. We were rewarded the first step in this firefighter grant, which is a salary and a plan and an opportunity to create the plan to be resubmitted for the next phase, which this plan could give the county extra equipment, not only for the road department, for the fire departments, but it could be a multi-million-dollar grant. So what I would like to see if we can do is go ahead and approve the first phase of this grant. And I would like to, so that'd be a motion in itself. So I want to make a motion, we approve this grant. It's for a total of $73,675. And it covers the salary, all the benefits, travel, equipment, and supplies for the first phase of the grant. And so I want to make that motion for approval. Then I got one other.
Second.
Mr. Renshaw makes the motion and Mr. Turpin seconds. We have received this grant in the county, and I talked to the guy that wrote this grant, and it is only for private property, is my understanding. It's not the Daniel Boone National Forest or the Corps of Engineers. It just pertains to private property as wildfire. So I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay. I want to go ahead and make a motion that we hire Rick Haynes to oversee this grant, to produce this, the outline for what we need to do to resubmit it to the state. It's a comprehensive plan. It's going to take time. The grant is for a year worth of salary. So, and Rick has 8,000 hours of training as a firefighter, and he is a major grant writer. He's produced I know for sure he produced a $250,000 grant for one fire department. He's produced a lot of grants for this county to help the firefighters. So I would like to see him oversee this grant and come up with a plan. And he's the one that's got the ability to resubmit this grant for our best chances of getting approved. So I would like to go ahead and hire him. There was in your packet, there's a list of that job description and the abilities and the responsibilities that he has to meet in order to receive that pay. It's 100% paid, all of his salary, all of his health care, retirement, everything is paid in this grant. So I'd like to make that motion that we hire Rick Haynes to oversee this grant.
Have a motion on the floor. I need a second.
What type of money is available for the grant there?
That, what we just approved,
Yeah, I mean,
it's up to millions of dollars
Yeah.
for each
This is
county.
part of the Biden administration infrastructure bill, and it's huge. It could be millions of dollars.
There's some places are getting $8 to $10 million that is available for these plans. So it's a huge
Since-
opportunity for us.
Since we got awarded the first part of this contract, it gives us a foot in the door for future on the wildfire stuff. We think we've got a good chance of getting more money later on
it
this
could
grant. 'Cause it could be-
provide
it could be
equipment and
huge.
stuff for the fire departments
And
and,
the next phase can provide not only equipment for the firefighter, but also equipment for the road department.
And it could be worth millions of dollars. It's huge, it's a huge benefit. I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion?
did we get a second?
No.
Do I have a second? I thought I did.
I'll second.
Mr. Turpin seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Department reports. I think you have your road work request in front of you. Any questions? Any discussion on it? Everybody got their list turned in?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Wilson. Do I have a second? Mr. Strunk seconds. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is magisterial realignment. Tim, or, is that Tim?
Big Mark.
You got more here than I do, I think.
Okay. Mark, go ahead.
Can I go for the other one first?
Yes, sir.
The equipment, since that's gonna be easier. In the fiscal year, in the fiscal budget for 23-24, Pulaski County has $158,200.66 available in grant money for the purchase of equipment. At this time, I'd like to ask for 3 print modules and 2 scanners. The print modules come up to $19,930, and the print modules come up to $12,912. And I was wanting the prints for the primary, but they don't know if they can get them to me before November, the November election. That's why I'm going ahead and applying for monies to pay for these, so maybe we can get them by, in November, so we can set up another vote center in November. That's it, basically. Questions?
Motion to approve the equipment?
Second.
Mr. Strunk makes a motion, Mr. Wilson seconds. Any other discussion?
Question, do we have to wait till July 1st to purchase them since the grant's for next fiscal year?
I don't, no, we can pay for it retroactively with the grant. We can go ahead and apply for the grant now. In fact, that's probably what I'll do when I leave here is apply for the grant. And
Okay.
the grant for, the way they're talking, we're not gonna get them till November anyway, if we're lucky. We may get the printers, I don't know, but they don't know. They got 4 counties that never have started equipment purchase, so they go to the front of the line, and everybody else has applied for all these grants, and we're near the bottom, so we may not get the equipment till 2024. We'll probably meet, County Board of Elections will meet the next day or two and flesh out the rest of the purchases, and I'll probably be back in 2 weeks to ask for another agreement here for, spend the rest of the $158,000. So, I don't know. I don't know.
I just didn't know we had to wait till
It's usually net 30 is what it is, so I'm assuming after the delivery, that's when we have to pay for them, so.
but we don't have to pay for this out of this year's budget.
We won't pay for them till you
Well,
do it.
yeah. So I just
No,
want to make sure we don't have
no.
to come up with the front money first. Okay.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Nah.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Go ahead with your second item, Mark.
I'm a thinking. In KRS 67045, District Boundaries Reapportionment Procedure, it spells out pretty much what we have to do. Number 5 says, number 4, the fiscal court shall initiate reapportionment proceedings in May of the first year following the decennial census of the United States. That would typically be 2021. The census was not ratified till 2021, so that pushed it back to 2022. However, KRS 067045 says, number 6 says, in no event shall districts be reapportioned during the period from 30 days prior to the election, last day for the following candidacy for county office as provided in KRS 118-165 and the regular election for candidates for county office. That means that y'all filed for office on January 25th, 2022, so that means you could not start reapportionment prior to December 25th, maybe, I don't know, whatever 30 days before that is, and it has to start after November 3rd. So what we all did in 2022 is of no use. Like I said, this reapportionment is required by the state. It says, in order to do that, you got to publish notice for the planned reapportionment in accordance with KRS 424. I talked to Steve. He said they don't have papers on Monday, so the earliest we can do that is May the 2nd. I think y'all meet the May the 9th, so we need to make the publishment. I got a legal notice here. That's what needs to be published in the paper. And y'all at that time will appoint 3 citizens and Tim Price as a non-voting member of that committee. The committee has 60 days after the appointment to get the apportionment done, and y'all have another 60 days to ratify that. And that's pretty it. Like I said, I've set a tentative date for the 22nd of May, which is a Monday, to meet at 11 o'clock. I've already got the data. I've already got everything figured out. It shouldn't last long. Knowing Tim, there'll probably be lunch at 11 o'clock. He likes to eat like I do. So y'all need to assign 3 people, and they must be in separate districts. They cannot be in the same district. Last time y'all had 4 people. 2 of them were in the 3rd, 1 was in the 5th, and the other was in the 2nd. So please make sure that whoever you appoint is not in the same district. And y'all get to set they shall receive out of the county treasury a reasonable compensation for their services fixed by the fiscal court. So please fix the fees. And remember, they can listen to me for about 30 minutes, so pay them accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
So we need to approve the advertisement of this, right?
You're gonna have to have advertised. I presume so. I mean, I'd do it now instead of.
Yeah. Now, do we have to go back and remove that from when we did it before?
Probably a Martin question.
I know what your answer's going to be, so we'll wait on that. We may
And
have
the
to go
effective
back.
date of this reapportionment is November the 8th, 2023. All reapportionment ordinances and precinct established ordinances must have an effective date of November 8th, 2023. That's according to State Board of Elections.
We'll leave that up to Martin to decide if we got to reverse what we already put in place.
Yep, I'll make a note and get it to him.
So the board consists of 3 citizens, Tim, and is there a magistrate on this board?
No, you cannot vote.
Okay.
You cannot be on the board because you're voting for it. So you
So
cannot
there's gonna be-
establish it.
There's going to be 4 members of this board then, right?
Tim's going to be one of them. He's going to be a non-voting member.
Okay. So motion to approve advertisement for, to sit a board
on May the 2nd, please. So it's got to be after the May the 1st. Like I said, the first day the paper will be published is May the 2nd. Is that correct, sir? It's a Tuesday? So that way you have to have 7 days notice, so you can't appoint him on the 9th. If you do it after the 2nd, you have to wait till the following one on the 23rd. I think that's when the 9th and 23rd, so I think when y'all meet in May.
So it can be done any time before the 2nd of May,
What can be done anytime?
advertising.
No, so it's got to be after May the
Has to be
1st.
after.
Okay.
Has to be after May the 1st. And you
So it
cannot
has
sit
to
there and
be
appoint the
advertised.
people until after the advertisement is run, 7 days before, 7 days after the advertisement has run.
So you
Okay.
said run it May 2nd.
May the 2nd, so you can sit there and appoint them on May the 9th.
Everybody got that clear?
You got that? Clear as mud?
Okay,
We'll advertise after May the 2nd.
On May the 2nd.
On May the 2nd, then we'll do a court meeting
Second.
and appoint three
On
members.
May the 9th, y'all can appoint them, like I said, but they have to be done, we got 60 days after May the 1st to get the apportionment completed. I don't know why they do it during the middle of an election, but they're the wise ones, I'm not. So that's the time I like to follow is, publish it on the 2nd, appoint them on the 9th, we'll meet on the 22nd, and I'll have a written report on the 23rd, ready for y'all's approval the next day. And the approval date will be November 8th, 2023.
The prior one you said was done in 2022 that you need to know if
It
you
was
need to
done, I
retract.
think y'all they appointed the people on the 11th of January, 2022, and sometime in April is when y'all approved it. So that's right in the middle of the dead period. The dead period is December 25th or so, 2021, till November 9th, 2022. They're right in the middle of the dead period.
This
It's
is,
in the bulletin here, but the bulletin didn't come out till July, so that's,
this
go
is,
ahead.
this has been done before, but the timing was wrong.
yes. And like I said, I think we need to start
You
over.
couldn't
to
do
make
it during
sure-
a,
Huh?
you couldn't do it during an election year.
Not when there's county officials elected.
That's correct.
That's what KRS 0670456 says, last sentence. In no event shall districts be reapportioned during the period from candidacy for county office. I think these are all county offices in here, so
Yeah.
I think it pretty much cut 2022 out, and that's why they're pushing it this year because of the county offices. They were all ran last year, and that's why nobody brought it up during y'all's KCO meetings or our state board meetings or whatever.
Judge, back when we did it before, we were told by some state offices that we should go ahead and get it done, so that's why we did it.
Okay.
Of course, the state can change their mind, which they did.
Well, these have been in effect since July 14th, 2000, so I guess you got some bad advice.
We have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, motion to
Second.
advertise.
Mr. Renshaw makes a motion, Mr. Strunk seconds.
Y'all want to look over that thing and any changes y'all want to make? If y'all want to make a different date, I just pull that date out because, like I said, I want to get this done with and over with. I think Tim does too. That's one less thing we have to worry about. Is that date okay, the 22nd, 10 o'clock? They have to be sworn in, so I don't know if Tim can swear him in, but he's going to be on the committee, so I don't know how he can swear himself in. So you probably have to be around on the 22nd to swear him in, Marshall.
We can do it. Any other discussion?
When y'all going to set the fee, set the pay?
We'll do it.
You do that on the 9th?
We'll do it.
Okay. I hate to run roughshod on y'all, but
You are.
any other questions, comments? I'm sorry it took more than 2 minutes.
We'll
You
take it off
always
the next
do.
one.
I do not. That's not 10:56. It's gone.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. Moving on to fleet maintenance. Frank?
I got 3 quotes for backhoes, and all of them are on the master agreement list. And I've got a cat for $141,360. And John Deere for $128,715. And then a case for $127,430 or $473.
How much was the John Deere?
$128,215. I'm sorry, 128,715.
Have we looked at some prices on pre-owned?
They're higher if you buy one very new. They're higher if you buy one very new.
That's what, have you,
Because if you
You can
buy
buy 'em
this, the
cheaper on
retail
state
price
bid.
on this, on a case unit is $191,000.
That's how they make money off them dump trucks on us. We make money on it. The rest of them ones we got are cases, ain't they?
Yep.
They're all case. Well, I would say if we're buying one, we need to buy a case,
Yeah,
whether they're all the same.
that's the cheapest one too.
Is that the cheapest one?
You said 127,473 on the case.
how's the,
How long will it take to get it? I mean, if we
It'll
order
be
it,
October. if
it'll
we
be
buy the
October
case.
before we get it.
Yep,
so we're gonna be without a backup backhoe till October?
yep.
Because we're already auctioning off the one that we have. And how's that auction going right now?
I haven't looked at this today, but it ain't met reserve yet.
It hasn't met reserve, what's,
I just put like $10,000 reserve on it.
still hasn't met that? And how much did we get back from, Enterprise?
110. 10,000 something.
It was 110,616. So it'd be
110
16,857.
We're going to put 17,000 with it.
minus what we get from the sale of the other one. So,
We get 10,000 on that, we just get.
extra $7,000. Did we actually get the money from Enterprise?
Yes.
We did receive that money from Enterprise. And what was that total again? 110 what?
616.
So, we can hope we get $17,000 off the, when does that auction end?
The 30th.
The 30th? So, but if not, we'll probably end up having to pay roughly 10 to 7,000, or,
I would think, yeah.
yeah, but,
Any other discussion?
I just
What's
want to know where we're gonna pay it from. Where's that extra money gonna come out of?
I guess the question here is, do we want to replace the backhoe we're surplusing with a new one, or do we want to hold off on buying a new backhoe? We have got a backhoe in each district now, but we don't have a backup. And the first available backup would be October.
But the problem is, I
We've got
know,
110,000 roughly from excess fee from Enterprise on our leases, but it doesn't cover the price of the new backhoe. We're 17,000 short.
the only problem that I have is the fact that I was told my backhoe was down for 2 weeks.
We have to have a spare backhoe.
We have to have it.
Right, Dennis? You need to input on this, because there's always something wrong. And them things are used daily, hard.
So I agree we need to buy one, but do we have any extra money in the budget to offset it, which I think we do.
We should have.
We just got to find the right account.
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and purchase this case.
Mr. Strunk makes a motion to purchase, and Mr. Wilson seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next item will be the jail report. Mr. Anthony,
Good morning.
good morning.
First thing is the budget for jail. By statute, I have to give you all a proposed budget before the 1st of April. Since we've just recently got our new county treasurer, and her and I have not been able to sit down and go over it, I would just ask that we just take this budget that I've given you all just for review, allow her and I to sit down and to go over it and to go through it, bring it before the budget committee so we can move it around. I didn't ask for anything, any extra. I tried to keep the budget the same as it was last year, $5,490,992, which is the same as it was last year. I didn't ask for anything additional. We may have to move some things around and adjust some categories, but I just now just ask you all just to take it for review because I have to do that for to be in compliance with state law.
Motion to accept for review.
Mr. Renshaw makes that motion, and Mr. Wilson seconds. Any other discussion on this motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes.
Our contract is up with the telephone communication service that we have at the jail, which is now Vipath. I have reached out to other companies who could not match the contract that they gave us, the Vipath gave us. Vipath, with negotiations, increased our TECA grant from $50,000 to $100,000, and also increased your all's budget about $100,000, give more back to the fiscal court than what they have been giving you per year. They've also put in a mail scanning system at no cost to the county. Now, basically, when mail comes into the jail to the inmates, I have to have employees to go through that mail to make sure there's no contraband. Now it's going to be mailed to them. They'll scan it, and it'll be given to them on their tablets instead of my employees having to go through the mail, which is great because that reduces on contraband trying to be smuggled into the jail. I've also talked to Martin and shown him the contract. He's approved the contract and said that it met our standards. I'd like to go ahead and ask the court to continue the contract with Vipath. Also, there is no change to the rates. The rates stay the same as they were. So there's no change to the families or the inmates as far as increasing prices. They've stayed the same.
Motion. Second.
Mr. Wilson makes a motion, Mr. Turpin seconds. Any discussion on this? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
I just have a general question. How's the jail doing?
It's going. Going about 350 some inmates. So
Did you get the new scanner put in?
new scanner's going. It's going good. They've already found some contraband on some people. The new scanner is going really well. They've turned that over to the law enforcement officer that brought the inmate in to follow up with prosecution on them. So the new scanner's going well.
Good. And any job openings over there?
We're always hiring part-time.
So if somebody wants to come by and put in an application, they can just come to the jail to do that.
Absolutely. What we do is we have around 45 full-time employees, and I supplement coverage and stuff to try to cut down on overtime with part-time employees. So we're always using part-time employees, and they can work up to 24 hours a week.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Can I get a copy of that budget?
Okay.
That motion passed. Continuing right along, solid waste. Danny?
The 109 board met March 20th, and we had a part-time employee available, and they approved to rehire Jordan Chapman. So we'd just like to have permission, fiscal court, to rehire Jordan Chapman as part-time. 109 board will cover his salary.
Motion.
Mr.
Second.
Turpin makes a motion, Mr. Renshaw seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
One more thing while I'm here. April is coming up, and it's a big month for cleanups. So I'll be back next fiscal court to present quite a few cleanups we have going on. SPEDA has a cleanup for our students in the community. The Chamber of Commerce and the Solid Waste Board, we have a cleanup for some groups in the community that will take place on Earth Day, and then our Somerset Pulaski County Clean Sweep will be coming up on April the 20th. So a big month, and we also have our Hazardous Waste Day coming up in April. So April's a big month for cleanups. Hopefully we get a lot of people involved in the community.
Thanks, Danny.
On that note, real quick, if a subdivision, like we did out in Omega Park, the community got together and cleaned up their subdivision, their area out there, and bagged up the trash, you will go out there and pick it up anytime for free. It wouldn't be something that the community would have to pay for, correct?
Yes, there's community cleanups we have in quite a few communities that do that, and we work with those communities. If they'll just contact our office, we'll work on getting it picked up with either us or Waste Connections to provide that service.
And we appreciate any community that wants to get out there and volunteer to clean up and clean their communities up. They look good when they're done. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Danny. 911, Beverly.
I'm here requesting to advertise and interview for 3 full-time positions at 911.
Agreed.
3. We've had 2 that stepped down from full-time to part-time. 1 left and went to a different job. We had 1 that recently just went through academy, worked 1 shift, and resigned after months of training.
That was a big expense for nothing.
Absolutely. And I would like to talk to Martin about maybe getting a contract to where if we send them to school, they need to stay a little while.
Yeah. I agree.
Motion to approve for advertisement.
Second.
Mr. Renshaw makes the motion, Mr. Strunk seconds.
And
Any
where
other
can they
discussion?
go if they wanna apply for a job?
We just need to, they need to submit resumes.
They just need to submit resume on.
We've received a couple of applications through the courthouse, and John has forwarded them to me. I've reached out to the people that have submitted the applications and told them to submit resumes. Then we filter through those.
Okay, where do they submit an application? Where? Is there a website or
It's usually to our email.
to your email?
Mhm. We were very successful the last time we did that. We had probably 75 applicants.
I'm just asking you these questions for the people who are watching.
Right, absolutely.
So, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Everything else going all right over there? You guys have been working hard here lately, I noticed.
Yeah. They've been great.
That radio has been going crazy here
been
lately,
great.
so you guys did a great job on the tree stuff and
Well,
on that fire the other day.
Yeah, the fire the
with
other
the
day
church
was a
fire,
lot.
so.
It was a lot. I
So
think
you-
we had 11 departments there.
Yeah, it was a countywide call, so it was a lot of work for you guys, so thank you very much.
Well, we're working on a lot of training programs, and we're trying to get everybody more informed about fire departments. That's never been really stressed since I've been there. And we're building on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a motion on the floor. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Treasurer's report. I think we have some stuff in front of us on the, do we have any budget transfers? Do we have a list of those?
Didn't have any budget transfers, but I had bank transfers.
Bank transfers, I mean, yeah.
The
Fund
normal,
transfers. Fund transfers?
yeah. The normal 3, from the general fund to the road would be $412,500. To the jail from general fund would be $201,563. From general to 911 would be $412,500. And then there was a check that was mistakenly deposited into the general fund and needs to go into the opioid settlement account for $267. $267,454.59. Sorry.
Motion to approve the transfers?
Mr. Renshaw makes a motion to approve the transfer. Have a second?
Second.
Mr. Turpin seconds. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Any other business to be brought before the court? We will open up citizens' comments if anyone's here today to comment. Come to the podium and give me your name and where you live.
My name's Stephen Mankin. I live at Horseshoe Drive in Somerset, Kentucky. So what we have is, in our neighborhood, we've got a petition here that we've signed. We've got close to 90 signatures on it. And what we've got is the drug rehabilitation service that's bought 3 houses now in our neighborhood. And I'm all for it, but I just don't feel like that's the place for it in our neighborhood. And we see the downside from it. And people out wandering the streets, and they're really not looked after. After hours, the lights are on, and they're cranking music, and they're partying back there, so to speak. I mean, it's more like a frat house, really. But and people wandering through the neighborhood and things. I just don't. For one, I don't understand how a business is able to operate in a neighborhood that's clearly restricted to residents only. And I don't know, I've talked to several people about it, and then I've called Frankfurt. They say that this should be handled by our county attorney and by code enforcement, and I don't know where to go with it other than just a lawsuit or something like that, but I'd rather not have to take it like that. But so I've got a petition. I guess I'll read it here. It says, "We, the concerned citizens of Horseshoe Drive, Somerset, Kentucky, have grave concerns regarding Halfway House, which has moved into our small neighborhood. The residents of this halfway house, owned by Lake Cumberland Rehabilitation, have become public and private nuisance to our small neighborhood, where we have many children, including daycares and elderly residents, who no longer feel safe. There is clearly no supervision of these residents, including but not limited to the residents of the halfway house trespassing on property at all hours of the day and evening, knocking on the doors late at night, speeding through the small neighborhood, constant traffic all hours of the day and evening, including many people not residents of the halfway house, hanging out in the street late at night. There is currently one large home now housing recovery residents, building additional housing on that property, which is what he said they were going to build 3 more compounds, and they're clearing that lot right now, so we're very concerned with this. And of course, when we wrote this up, they only had 1 house, so it says purchased another home in our neighborhood. Well, now they've purchased a 3rd one, and so this is very alarming to me that this can even happen, because we can't operate businesses out of a neighborhood like this, and that's not really what you want to have your kids out in the yard playing, and you don't know who the guys are standing there staring at them, and it's just not. I could go on and on about the issues that we've had about this. I mean, just the traffic alone from these places, the big buses coming in and out of there, and people going in and out. I mean, 6, 7, 8 times on a Sunday afternoon when you're trying to relax, and you got these commercial vehicles coming in and out of there, and this is just. But I do have a petition here. We've got close to 90 signatures on it, and I'd like to submit it or whatever it takes.
I would like to add to that. There's a lot of concern considering citizens not only in their subdivision but other subdivisions too. I've been out there and I've watched the activity going in and out, hear the music, stuff like that too. So I know what their concern is. I've checked with attorneys and I've talked to the owner. And to be frank, I got one right around the corner from my own house in Southern Hills. And I'm being told by everybody, I can't get through to anybody about why they have to be in subdivisions. All I'm being told is they can buy whatever they want, wherever they want, because it falls underneath the American Disabilities Act. There's nothing nobody can do legally to stop them.
But how does that override a restriction in a neighborhood? That's what I was
Because it's
looking at.
it's federal law.
It's still a
I know,
restriction.
it's weird.
That's a speed
And
limit.
then-
You gotta go by it, that's a speed restriction.
And
you
then,
gotta-
and then here's the thing about subdivisions. Subdivisions, if they don't have this is what I've been told by the county attorney. Subdivisions, if they don't have a homeowners association to enforce those restrictions, the only way to do that is the citizens come together and actually sue and go through civil court to address those issues. Because like even in my subdivision, we don't have a homeowners association anymore. So we
Right.
can't address, the only way we can do it is somebody,
To make new laws and things like that, but this is already something that's in the deed. I mean, I don't
I know, that's what I
understand
mean,
why.
but the problem is, you don't have an enforcement power for that deed.
Okay, so, but.
Unless you go
So it's clear,
to,
I can start a business in this neighborhood. That's what I'm, and.
here,
The county does not enforce subdivision restrictions.
yeah, the subdivision
The people that live
restrictions
there
were
has
set
to
up
enforce
by
it.
the subdivision, it wasn't by the court.
Right.
And so in order for you to enforce your restrictions in your subdivision, I'm being told you actually have to sue that person and take them to civil
So
court.
is there no law, I mean, what I'm concerned with is the people that are working for their houses and they go out and work every day. Is there, because I'm seeing this, I mean, as we even got concerned with it, you've got, more and more and more now they're building, like, what's the end of this? I don't believe there is an end to it. You've got government money funding it, and I don't understand, for one, if you're gonna start a commercial business, I'm gonna go out and buy a commercial property like everybody else in the world. And I don't understand why these people are allowed to come in and buy residential property for a residential price to start a commercial location. And I don't know why I should have to pay any of my money out to bring a lawsuit up to somebody like that. I feel like that's already written in the rules. I don't understand. How is that even possible, and where does it stop? I mean, it'll be in everybody's
I
name.
mean-
I'm telling you,
I mean-
it's, you can look up and they've purchased 20-something properties here in the last little bit, and where does it end?
The only thing I can think of, it's gotta end with the federal government, so it has to,
Well, I've called and I've talked to a lot of people, and they're just deferring me down and saying, well, you need to talk to your county attorney.
Well, that's-
And you need to talk to your, your code enforcement, and they said there's no way that's allowed.
well,
And I
first,
go, well,
unfortunately,
I've tried.
We don't have
unfortunately,
code
we don't
enforcement.
have a code enforcement in the county. We have certain rules, general rules to keep a subdivision clean, but that's.
Even though a property is restricted, you're saying it's really not.
It is for your purposes, but you guys have to unfortunately take them to court to enforce those restrictions, and the judge has got to decide whether those restrictions can be upheld or not. And I'm sorry, I live in a subdivision too, I know exactly what you guys are going
You may be more okay
through.
with it than I am, but I'll tell you.
So I'm not okay with it, it's
Yeah.
just, I don't know where else to go myself.
Right, well.
Just like you guys are
Well, I mean, I've
frustrated,
called
I'm
them and they say,
frustrated.
oh, yeah, you just need to talk to your local county attorney and.
I've talked to the owner here within the last week, and he's telling me he's changing his philosophy out there. I'll tell you right now, he said he was gonna make it into a professional recovery center. That means
It's all the
professional
same.
workers
There's no
would
professional.
come in.
There's nothing
I
professional.
know, I'm
about
just
that,
telling you what
believe
he's,
it or not.
what he's
Yeah.
telling me,
These people
so.
are out all night long and they're partying and.
And
they're
I understand
walking
completely, but,
traffic in and out of there.
I mean,
He can say what he wants.
I mean, we
but-
can get, I mean, I'm sure Bobby's here, that he can provide some more drive-throughs to probably try to help. What do you think,
Well, I
Bobby?
mean, I'm trying not to aggravate the police department on that,
No.
but I mean, when it's just all the time.
I'll address this just real shortly, just because I got asked this question before fiscal court about this neighborhood, and the person probably didn't like my answer, but today from 6 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock this evening, we got 2 deputies, no troopers in this county. It's impossible for us to do drive-throughs. That's me being transparent with the public, just letting the public know where we're standing. That's a scheduled day. We got 2 in training, and that's how it affects us. I explained to this, we'll try to do our best to do extra patrol, but just like your neighborhood, this is an ongoing problem, not only in their neighborhood, but other neighborhoods. And there's just so much extra patrol we can do. Like I explained to fiscal court last time, we spend all of our time being reactive instead of proactive. So the deputy's out there today. I've got my chief deputy out today doing record service, inspecting records, because we found out we got to get that done. And it's not his job title, but that's where we're at. And I just wanted the public to know, that's part of me running for office. I said, we're transparent. It's not always pleasant, but I just wanted the public to know where I stood on that. But I will do what we can, but until they commit a crime, unfortunately, when they commit a crime, but that's what this gentleman's not wanting.
Yeah.
He's not
Well,
wanting to
I
get to that
mean,
point to where they're.
It's not, there's no, you know, since they've came in, we've never had issues in that neighborhood. It's been, I mean, we know everybody in there, mostly retired people and stuff like that, and everybody walks, and we've had cars getting broke into. I mean, they find all kind of needles back there in the back of that. And I mean, you can sit there and watch. As soon as the lights go down, they'll start jumping the fence and running. I mean, I could sit here and go on for hours about just the activity in there, but I mean, it's.
Well, we will add it to our extra patrol list.
I mean, you just have to be there at the right time. I'm not saying that's gonna fix anything. I just don't.
I've
I'm
actually-
coming from a businessman in there. I just don't feel like I should be able to start a business in a neighborhood that's on that, and I don't feel like anybody should be able to, and that's 100%.
And one of the
what it is.
problems with that particular property, it's actually not in the.
Well, no, they've bought two. They've got another one now.
Oh, yeah, they got two
yeah.
other ones that
Yeah.
are in the
And I'm sure
subdivision,
5
yeah.
more in the next
But the
year,
big
I'm just
one
guessing
is
at.
not in the subdivision.
So I've just gotta be okay with living right in the middle of a
No,
compound.
but our solution is to take it to federal government, because they're the ones that would have to change the law. Because they're saying right now, they're considered part of the American Disabilities Act.
Right, but there's
So
still
that's
restrictions.
that's what they're moving forward with. Well, you can't stop us because it's part of the American Disabilities
It's a
Act.
law, it's a law.
So we're gonna have to get with Hal Rogers, we're gonna have to get with, Rand Paul.
Yeah.
And.
So do I
and
submit
see-
this or just?
Yeah, you can
throw
submit it
away,
for,
or-
yeah, you can submit it for public records. And, I'll take a copy of it too.
So I got a question. They're allowed to drive in my yard? They're allowed to come over and hang out in my yard?
No,
They're
when
allowed-
they do, you call the sheriff's office on them if you,
You're
and get a
telling me
trespass.
It's not doing any good. We
So-
can't do nothing about it. And by the time, and no disrespect, Bobby, but you're covered up. And by the time you all get down there, they're gone.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I don't
they're
know
running up and down the roads.
What do you
Can't
should,
even walk up and down the road because they're
what do
coming
you,
out and jumping them.
what do you suggest we do? Our hands are tied
Get
because
them
it's a
out of our
fed.
neighborhoods.
Huh?
I mean, plain and simple, we didn't ask them
How
to
do
be
we get
there,
them
and
out?
They moved in there without any of us knowing it.
Yeah, and
You
the
know,
same thing in my
I don't
neighborhood.
want drug addicts.
I had somebody die at the house in my neighborhood. You think I want them out of there? I
Put 'em in the
do.
country. That's
I
where they belong.
do. So,
I mean, we've got all kinds of buildings in this county that's empty.
but I don't know.
I believe that all of us agree with you, they shouldn't be
We
in
all want them out of the
subdivisions.
subdivisions. I don't think there's
Until the
anybody
federal
here.
government tells us
You're
that.
telling us, no, we have no rights.
As
I
of,
mean, and our government's telling us we have no rights.
as of right now, our federal government has that order standing that gives them the right to do it, and that's unfortunate. But we all have to go to our federal legislation to get them to change that.
So basically, I gotta put a electric fence around my property so my kids can feel safe outside. Because I live right across the street from them.
I
You
understand.
know I do.
Yeah. I've
been
sat
in
in,
my
I've
driveway,
sat in
yeah.
your driveway.
And watched them walk
Yeah.
out. And as soon
So
as they
we
see you,
we
they
know
turn
that.
back.
There's nothing that you guys aren't dealing with that I'm dealing with in my own neighborhood. Except I've had a death in my neighborhood because of it at that house. So I know exactly where you come.
We all feel for you, I know.
And I call and I talk to people and I get the door shut in my face because it's a federal, that they're guided by the American Disabilities Act. So the only way to change that is to talk to our federal elected officials and see if they can change it up in Washington DC.
Yeah.
And we can't do that. You guys are gonna have, unfortunately, the way it's set up, you guys are gonna have to take them to civil court. Huh?
Who we talk to, Biden? Because we talk to everybody in Frankfurt and they tell us to come talk to you all. Now, you all are telling us we gotta go talk to them.
I mean, this has been a big concern for me.
You gotta go up.
Because I have one right around the corner in my house. I know you live across from one.
I live across.
So
from all
actually,
three
you
of them.
have, now you have 3 of them.
Yeah, and they're driving in my yard and everything else.
I think we get the purpose that you're here, and we don't like any of the stuff that's happening in your neighborhood. Let us do a review, and let me take it to the county attorney, and see if we can come up with some stuff that would help enforce what's happening in the neighborhood. Let's just try to find a solution to this, because I know it's not good with anyone that it's happened.
I like to hear that kind of talk.
Let's just
Maybe the
make it
county-
brief.
If we can work together for a
Yeah,
solution.
we'll try to find a solution. We have no ordinances in the county that restrict where people build or buy, but let me go to the county attorney's office and see if we can find out a solution that we would need to start back with the recovery group and see if they can enforce their policy, because they should be responsible for these people getting out and doing harm to the neighborhood.
We would appreciate that greatly.
Thank you.
There are no duplexes in our area. It was originally platted out as single home dwellings or single family dwellings. So appreciate anything you could do.
Will do.
And then maybe we can get Martin to address it next meeting.
Deed restrictions are civil. Nothing's going to change about that.
But let's get Martin to address this whole issue at the next meeting.
We can certainly do
in
so.
court
I
for
will say
public.
House Bill 248 was just signed into law. That puts in the administrative regulations on these residences. So that might be something to take a look at as far as who you would report violations to and something like that, because I believe
House Bill 248.
House Bill 248. I believe there's certain recovery resident certification requirements and stuff like that that these companies who are operating them are required to submit, or should be required to submit. So that might be something to take a look
That's
at as
something the
well.
governor just signed?
But as far as deed restrictions, those are going to be civil.
Thanks. Any other comments?
But if we can get Martin to address it in
I'll
open court next meeting, that would-
Certainly pass it along to him and have him look up anything he
for all
can
the
find.
citizens that.
Any other discussion or other comments on other subjects? I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Mr. Wilson makes a motion to adjourn. Any got to give me a second?
Second.
Mr. Turpin seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We stand adjourned. Thanks to everyone to attend.